All right, so here's the challenge that I'm challenging myself to in this video. I basically am looking at my collection and saying, of the houses that I have to have at least 3 of the bottles or 3 fragrances from that particular house. Which fragrance from each house would be the one that if I only could have one from that house, which would be the fragrance that I would have? That's going to be the challenge for this video. Stick around. Let's see how it goes. All right, what's good, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Kevin, and you're watching Smell Goods. I appreciate you coming through. Appreciate you hanging out with me for a little bit as we talk fragrance, as we talk these smell goods, these colognes, all of this stuff that we talk about here on the channel called Smell Goods, right? So if this is your first time coming around here, appreciate you stopping through. However you got here, you're here. Thanks for sticking around. Appreciate you stopping through. If you've been here before, what's up, y'all? Good to see y'all again. Welcome back, of course, to the Smell Goods squad that we are building here. Now, as far as this video, as far as kind of what I'm challenging myself, just to have a little fun, right? Because, you know, you can do reviews, but sometimes you need to kind of break up the monotony of, as it were, and really just kind of have some fun with the fragrances that we have. So what I'm doing in this particular video is I'm looking at my collection and I'm saying, okay, for this one, this is only for Middle Eastern brands or inspired take brands. So for example, Lattafa, Yman Leo, etc., right? So now the other thing is I have to have at least 3 fragrances from this particular house in order for me to say that one of that house is the one that I would choose for, you know, that I would have to have. So for example, Awatania Cayenne Classic, I have back there. I only have that one from Awatania. They don't count because there's nothing else for me to choose from. But for example, for Lattafa, I have several Lattafa, but if I were to look at my Lattafas and say, which one would I have if I had to let everything else go? Which one would I hold on to and keep? That's what we're going to talk about. The other thing, as far as I'm giving you kind of the rules of this, right? The other thing is that if they are part of the same company, for example, French Avenue and Fragrance World. French Avenue is a division within Fragrance World. I'm only going to count, basically, I'm only going to count that as one. So I'm going to have to choose one from either the French Avenue or the Fragrance World. I can't separate them and say, well, this is my Fragrance World one and this is my French Avenue one. All right. So that's going to make it really interesting because, for example, Fragrance World and French Avenue both have some bangers in their different division, but I've got to choose just one. There can be only one. All right. That's in my head. All right. So with that said, let's jump into it. Not in any particular order. Not in, you know, greatest to least or anything like that of that nature. These are just as I have them sitting on this table next to me or in front of me. This is just me picking them up, moving them from one side to the other and showing them as I do it. All right. So first one up is from Paris Corner. From Paris Corner, this is the first one. The one that I'm about to show you is the first one that I ever got from Paris Corner. But I have 2 or 3 others. I know I have the Faro, which I just got, which is their side effect take. I have their take on Tuxedo. I think I have their take on Ganymede. But the one that I would say, if I had to say only one from Paris Corner, that would be from Paris Corner, of course. It would be Rificat. This is their take on YSL Baby Cat. Yeah, this does decently, right? It does really good. The vanilla in this is more for me. This comes off more of an elevated evening type of a scent. Definitely evening for sure, but it also kind of finds its home for me in kind of an elevated evening type of event. Let's, you know, think banquets, think your boy's getting married and you're going to the reception, right? That type of thing is that kind of elevated evening black tie affair type of thing. This is that type of fragrance and does a good job of it. But from the House of Paris Corner, my one that I would choose would be Rificat. All right. Next one up from the House of Khadlaj. I've got 3 from the House of Khadlaj, I think, as well. I have the one that I'm about to show you, as well as I have their Shiaka Shadow and their Shiaka Red. Shiaka Red, very good. It's a Reflection Man from Homage, clone, cover, remix, what have you. Really good. Shiaka Shadow is good as well. I did a review of that. If I've already released it, I'll try to make sure to link it up there so you can go take a look at that. But the one that kind of kept me going through this summer The one that from Khadlaj that was just like, yeah, that's a banger right there, is Khadlaj Island, doing its take of a Jean Paul Gaultier fragrance. Does it very well. Nice for the summer, nice tropical type of feel, definitely summer feel for that time of year, and works well. And this would be the one out of the 3 Khadlaj that I have. This is the one that would be the one that would survive if I had to let everything else go. This would be the one that I would say I'm keeping. All right, Khadlaj Island. Drop that over there. All right, next one up. Let's go with French Avenue / Fragrance World. French Avenue, Fragrance World. In fact, I just recently did also a video on ranking my French Avenues as well as ranking my Fragrance World. So you might have an idea of where I might be leaning with this, but I mean, within those 2 divisions, if you will, of the same brand, I mean, you've got things like, what is it? The Spectre Ghost. You've got Apex. You have the other one that I'm feeling right now, which is Notes Jazz. So you have a few different things that are there from Fragrance World / French Avenue. But the one, it's kind of like, it's almost a no-brainer as far as I'm concerned, right? You may feel differently, but for me, the one that I would hold on to is going to be Liquid Brune. This and its take of Parfums de Marly Altair, beautiful job of doing it. Definitely for me scratches the itch of thinking about Altair. I don't necessarily see my Altair as a great fragrance, and this is a great fragrance. It's just not something that I would wear all the time, every day. It wouldn't be for me signature scent. So for me, this is the one that I would definitely want to have to reach for when I want to have that type of profile, when I want to have that scent. This is the one that would definitely be out of French Avenue / Fragrance World, would be the one that I would say we're holding on to that one. The others, unfortunately, could go, although that might be a challenge because I might still, I might fight you for Spectre Ghost, maybe. All right. But again, Liquid Brune is going to be the one that represents French Avenue / Fragrance World. All right. Next one up, let's talk about Haramain. And they have, of course, their Amber Gold line, or Amber Oud line, I should say. And I have a few in there. I have their Carbon, I have their Gold, I have their Ruby, and I have the one that was hitting all summer, which is Aqua Dubai. This is the one that out of the Al Haramains, I would hold on to. Does its take on imagination? Again, not a 1-to-1. I think it's the T note that's not as strong or potent in this as I've seen in others. But this is probably the second closest of that DNA, if you will, for me. But this is the one that, if I had to let go of all of my other Al Haramain fragrances, this is the one that would stick around. Again, Amber Oud Aqua Dubai. All right, got that there. Perfect. Next up is the House of Armaf, and Armaf have, of course, the Club de Nuit line. I think what else I've got from them, I've got like Black Saffron from them or something else. Got a few things from the House of Armaf, but the one that when I got it, I was like, I should have gotten this earlier, and I'm still waiting for the follow-ups, even though something's going on weird with how they're doing their follow-up to this one. Let me tell you what I'm talking about, and then I'll kind of explain some more. We're talking about from Armaf, we're talking about Club de Nuit Peugeot 1. This would be the one that if I had to let go of all of my other Armafs, this is the one that I would hold on to and I would keep. This is their take on Aventus Absolute. Now, I say they're doing something weird because I just saw recently, I was talking to a couple of guys who I talked to that are also in this space, and I guess there's a Peugeot number 4. I don't know about you, but after 1, at least the way I was trained in my school, and I'm not saying my school is the best, but my school was 2, 3, and then 4. Somehow we went from 1 to 4. And shout out to my guy Gator. Shout out to Gator over at the Novice Knows, over at his channel, The Novice Knows. He's one of the guys I was taught that we were kind of talking and texting and chatting back and forth. And he had an interesting take on how they got from 1 to 4, right? It was an interesting, let's just say that. But shout out to Gator for his explanation of how they may have gone from 1 to 4. But needless to say, if we're talking about a fragrance that from the house of Armaf that I'm going to hold on to, that I'm going to keep and let the other ones go if I have to, it would be this one, Club de Nuit Peugeot 1. All right. Next one up is let's go with Lattafa, just because this is one that was probably a little challenging, a little difficult, a little interesting, right? Because I have a lot of Lattafas. If you've been around the channel for any length of time, you kind of know my affinity towards some Lattafas. I have to, in fact, I'm probably due for doing another ranking of my Lattafas, just because as I'm getting more in, there are some things that I'm like, and my nose is changing, my scent profile, my scent palette is changing. Things that I loved when I first started in this space, things that I loved when I first was jumping into fragrances, they're good. They're just not as good as some of the other stuff that's out now, right? So this one was challenging because there's a few things that have been released probably within the last year from Lattafa that are just like, yeah, I don't know if I want to let it go. In fact, the one that I'm about to show you, it was between this and one that I recently got probably within the last month that I had to make sure I was like, okay, is this just wanting to include this other one because it's new, because it's the shiny new toy, or is it really the one that I'm saying I would hold on to over the one I'm about to show you? So because I tried to allow for that, discounting that bias, I'm just going to go with, as far as if I had to let go all of my Lattafas, that means Eternal Oud, that means Assad Bourbon, that means even things like Oud for Glory, all of those things that would have to be let go, including Dynasty. For this one, we're talking from Lattafa, Teriyaki Intense. This, first of all, again, we probably need to have the conversation about how this probably should be quantified or qualified as a niche fragrance. Why? Because to my knowledge, my nose is not cloning anything. The perfumer is someone who's done their own original things for numerous houses that many people look to as like, oh, they're great designers, right? This is nicely made, crafted beautifully, and you can smell even the quality on this. But this would be the one that I would say, if I had to let go of every other Lattafa in my collection, if you had to pry them from my hands and leave me one right now, the way I feel, this would be the one I would hold on to. And that's, again, Teriyaki Intense. All right. But it ain't happening, so we ain't got to worry about it, right? Now, I've got just a few more. Okay, perfect. So, from the house of Afnan. Afnan has had, of course, their Supremacy line. Got a few other things from them from Afnan. But let's talk about the one that would be the one that I would hold on to above all others. And there's really no guessing for me. I mean, there's no surprise. I don't think any of you are going to be surprised. In fact, let's just jump to it. It is the Supremacy Collector's Edition. This right here, this is another one that is doing its take on Aventus Absolute. This is the one that I'm going to need a backup bottle for. Yeah, in fact, yeah, I may need it sooner than later. Yeah. All right, so again, if everything else from my collection of Afnan had to go away, this is the one that I would just definitely hold on to. Again, Collector's Edition Supremacy. All right. Next up, let's go to, we said we were talking, even including our Yman Leo. So Yman Leo, I have a few, I have maybe 6 bottles from Yman Leo. I have numerous travel sprays from them. I have probably about 15, 20 travel sprays or the 10 ml decants from them. So Yman Leo is definitely a house that I'm definitely enjoying, definitely like what they're putting out. They definitely have some bangers that are helping to scratch the itch, especially for things that may not find themselves being covered or cloned. For example, the one that I'm about to show you, I don't know if anyone has a clone out there of it, but the fact that they have that Yman Leo has this is, first of all, a gold star in my book as far as I'm concerned. but I'm talking about from Yman Leo. This one is Razi. And again, you'll know on the side, this is where it actually shows Razi, but this is their take on, Jadoub by Mind Games. Pomegranate rose leather. Yeah, this is, if I had to let go the others, and there are some great ones that I have up there. That includes their take on Gambit, which is player, their take on French defense, which is basic instinct. It includes their take on blockade, which is limitless. What else? And their take on Triumph of Bacchus, which is gladiator. It includes all of those. If I had to let go all of those, including some of the travel sprays that I have, that's, yeah. The one that I would hold on to above all others would be the Razi from Yman Leo. And I just want to point out, let this thing macerate, let it macerate. That color, that juice has gotten darker because it's macerating and it's gotten more potent. Yeah, might have to wear that soon again. All right, so that's the other one that would be from, or the one from, I should say, from Yman Leo that I would hold on to if I had to let the others go. All right, and then the last one, this is the one that we're calling an audible. This is a game time decision, right? Because I actually pulled both bottles down from this particular house. I pulled them both down and was like, at first I was like gonna do one, and then I smelled the other. I was like, no, we're gonna do that. And then I went back, it's like, no, we're gonna do this one. So we're gonna call it right here, right now. We're talking about from Joe Milano, from the Game of Spades line. Now, bear in mind, I have Full House back there. I have Boston, and I have Wild Card. I have those three. All three of them are phenomenal. All three of them are just like, yes, they're great. They're done well. They perform well. They do all the things you would want them to do. All three of them are that way, right? And I'm really sitting here, I'm like, I'm right now, even as I'm filming this, as I'm talking to you right now, I'm really like, okay, I'm not going to break anything. I'm not going to hurt anything by saying, but I'm just going to go with my gut right now. The one, and part of it, yes, this might be more recency as far as why I'm choosing this, but if I had to let the others go, and that's saying a lot because I really enjoy the other one, but the one that I would say would be, the one that I would say would be the one that I would hold on to. It almost took the cap off at least, but Game of Spades Boston. This is their take of Centerpiece from Bond Number 9, and right now this is the one that I'm like, yeah, if I had to let the others go. And that's saying a lot because Full House I could let go because I have Aqua Dubai, right? But if I'm saying I had to let let this one go, this is a challenge, and this is the challenge was Wild Card. Wild Card is just, it's a very versatile type fragrance that's doing its take on Lafayette Street. But we're not here to talk about that one because I already said that if I had to let it go, I would let it go. So the one I would hold on to would be Game of Spades Boston. All right, that's it. I'm going to do another one. Be on the lookout. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you have notifications turned on because I'm going to do another one that is going to be strictly for designer and niche. So that'll include like Mancera, that'll include Nazar, that'll include like Day 3. I think I've got Mont Blanc that will qualify up there too. So it'll include all that as far as what I have in my collection from a designer niche standpoint. All right, but that's it. Do me the favor, of course, stay safe, stay sane, stay smelling good. Do me the honor of hitting that like, subscribe, requesting notifications, and sharing, and then meeting me in the comments, hitting that hype button, and then make sure you come back. We'll see you next time. Have a great one. Be blessed. Peace.